Okay, so we have one more company, and this is the wild card, which means they were selected from the startup alley right out there. It also means that until a couple hours ago, they did not know they were going to present, so be a little kind. The company is WeConnect, and presenting for WeConnect are Daniela Tudor, Jen Mallory, and Murphy Jensen. Look at that, they're already here. Perfect.
Hi, everybody. I am Daniela Tudor, and I'm a recovering alcoholic and addict. I'm also the CEO and co-founder of WeConnect by Palalink. Next slide, please. I found something really alarming about 2.5 years ago, that 60% of people with drug and alcohol addiction relapse within the first year. Now, that percentage is alarmingly high, but what's even scarier is the amount of people that are trying to get into recovery, aside the 23 million people that are already in long-term recovery. Now, I was in active addiction for 11 years from drugs and alcohol. 18 months prior to getting into recovery, I tried to stop on my own, and the things got actually much worse. So as a last resort, I went into inpatient treatment, and it was there that I found out a couple of really key important things. One, that I just found other people like me. Addiction affects people from all walks of life, but finding out that 6% of them are going to relapse and many of those are going to end up in overdoses was really disturbing to me, so I had to do something about it. Taking on my own experience, serving 200 people in recovery, and looking at research that's been done and consulting professionals in the field, we came up with WeConnect by Palalink. All right, if we could go to the live demo now. Palalink is a mobile platform that integrates with wearables to address the two key things that cause relapse. One, lack of communication, and two, lack of accountability for your recovery activities. Now, here's Jen, as she's setting up her profile on the last day of inpatient, and she's going to take the treatment plan that her counselor gave her to set up meetings with her sponsor, therapist, recovery coach, as well as all of the 12-step meetings that she's been recommended to attend to stay in active recovery. Those activities that have a geolocation are tracked by geolocation and also accelerometer, so we're even able to tell if you showed up to your 12-step meeting just for the last 5 minutes, or if you've been there and engaged the entire time. This is one of the very key things about being in recovery. You have to be engaged into your recovery every single day. Now here you can see the schedule, and she's actually going to check in with a meeting with me right here on stage, and you can see that as she checks in, it verified the geolocation, so she checked in successfully. If she tries to check in into our outpatient, which is located in Seattle, it won't let her do that. So we increased accountability. Now, the second part of accountability is being connected to your support network. So there, she's connected to all the people in her support network, and you can see each other's dashboard of progress. Now, if she goes to her own dashboard, you'll be able to see her daily progress, how many days she's been in recovery, and then this week's progress, which is also, again, visible to her support network. We also provide alerts when someone is not doing their recovery program, and the most important part, I believe, of this platform is that sometimes in recovery, whether you have 1 year or 10 years, you start isolating, and that can be a huge risk factor for falling back into relapse. You can simply press this button, and it sends everybody in your support network on the application a message to reach out to you. This can literally be a lifesaver. We also give rewards for being in active recovery. So we provide rewards that don't trigger your technology addiction, but you accrue points to get rewards such as fitness classes, yoga classes, and free coffee coupons to really get the person engaged further into recovery. Back to the slides, please. Now you're probably wondering what our market is. Well, 1 in 3 people are part of that support accountability community, family, loved ones, coworkers. 1 in 6 people suffer from addiction. However, our target addressable market for our first sales channel, which is inpatient treatment centers, is 3.1 million people per year in the United States only. So right now we're in the early adopter program, which is inpatient treatment programs in California, Arizona, and Washington. We just released that on June 7th. Next, we're going to take that data that we also provide to the treatment centers, which are helpful for them for referrals, outcome studies, and other data that they might need. and we're going to go next into healthcare providers, insurance companies, and employee assistance programs. So I encourage you to be an early adopter and go to palolink.com and join us on this quest to save lives. I encourage you to think about the person or people in your life that are affected by addiction and have them join us. Thank you so much.
Go ahead, Stuart. You start us off.
I'm on the left. Have you tested this, and do you have evidence of success and efficacy?
Absolutely. So we just started our early adopter program June 7th, and we've had clients or patients, I guess, that have been using the platform that have told us it's definitely increased their accountability, their communication, and we also track data on a daily basis to see how much people are on the app, what they're interacting with on there, and what they're staying accountable to.
One thing I was wondering is,
Yes.
Can individuals use WeConnect and find someone else to connect to, or do they need to be part of a group already?
So when they're onboarded onto the app, they have to add a minimum of 2 connections on there. So that can be their parole officer, case manager, or it can just be other people they've met in treatment or in 12-step support groups. But that's up to the individual to be empowered and create that accountability community around them. Our app is very private, so you're not searchable on there, and we're also HIPAA compliant. So you create your own circle of accountability on there.
Got it.
Yeah.
I see why you're going to treatment programs first. I mean, it is a smaller market, but you have a better chance of having people fully engaged in the product, which it seems like it was designed. But one of my questions, though, is what use cases could you potentially just use parts of the product for? Is it like an all-or-nothing thing, like I have to be in there and this is my source of truth and accountability in life right now? Or is there sort of a partial way that still adds value for potentially a larger market?
Absolutely. So we actually are planning, although this is our first market, drugs and alcohol, we're planning to also go for eating disorders, domestic violence recovery, create another standalone product for tech recovery, and then there is even larger markets beyond that.
Great.
So I'm not a specialist in addiction, so how the people who were facing these problems before you came with this app, when they had the support system already in place when they were going to, so it was all paper and phone call. Tell me more about that. And the second part of my question is, from your test so far, what's the most valuable feature that people have said they found in your app?
Yeah, so to address the first part of your question, which was what was the status quo before we created the application. So what it was, I mean, it was very disparate and overwhelming. When I walked out of treatment with 28 days sober, I had to get out of a bad relationship into sober living and move my stuff, go to a 12-step meeting, set up my therapy session, and find someone in support. All of that is extremely overwhelming and disparate, and I walked out with a piece of paper that told me to do that. So this creates a tight accountability and instant support network in your pocket that you walk out of into the old environment that you had just come from 28 days before using. So that's how that's actually how we're solving that problem. And I'm sorry, what was the second part of your question?
I really like the little button say kind of I need help, but it's not to influence your answer at all. I was just wondering if there's a specific feature of a specific use of the app as it is now that was specifically found valuable by your users?
Yeah, so what they've said now is 2 things. One, just seeing their past progress from the last week when they're getting down on themselves have been extremely motivating and rewarding. And then the rewards themselves are motivating for them to do more activities than they were doing in the first place. That's been the most valuable feedback.
And so is it too early to tell, or did you feel it could potentially not only help people but really dramatically increase results in recovery?
Yeah, so that's our goal. Yep, absolutely.
So what are you thinking about in terms of business model?
I'm sorry, say that again?
What are you thinking about in terms of business model?
The business model?
Yeah.
Yeah, so currently we're in the paid early adopter program, and that price point is $365, so $1 a day for 12-month subscription per patient that we provide to the inpatient treatment center. Now that's just our early adopter program pricing because it's new. So we're going to determine a different pricing model after that. But B2B is our...
So the treatment center is paying, not the patient?
So it depends. Some treatment centers are incurring the cost themselves, and some of them are taking that cost and putting it within the aftercare aftercare plan that they have for their patient, which also includes outpatient and check-ins and a couple other features. So it just depends. It's a personal choice to the treatment center, but we build a treatment center.
It might be a cost passed through to the consumer.
It could be, yeah.
Okay.
And do insurance companies or Medicare cover addiction programs?
They do, and actually we were approached today by 2 insurance companies, and they're really excited about what we're doing. But again, like you were mentioning, the reason we're going to inpatient first is because we want to get that data to have a really robust presentation to insurance companies.
Cool. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Maybe it's not very nice to ask, but I will ask it anyway. What's your specific advantage? Because the technology is not difficult, right? So anyone could potentially do the same thing. Is your advantage in your experience?
Yep.
Just tell me how you think
Yes,
you
so
have a head
our
start.
experience is definitely the fact that I come from technology, but I'm also in recovery. And my business partners, Murphy, also being from that space, but having relationships in the recovery community that are really important to have. So he does strategic partnerships, and we both have experience in the space, and I think that's definitely the difference maker. Not anybody can just do this.
Okay, thank you.
All right, I think we are out of time. So give it up for our wildcard company, WeConnect by Palo Link.